Buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to go crazy.
You know, the best comment you got on social media today, the comment that wins, it says, "You better have a good podcast tonight because I'm about to live through a tsunami to watch it. This is not a joke. I live a half block from Salinas Beach, Ecuador. I put my Bible in plastic bags and shutting my phone off, putting it in a plastic bag so I can watch your podcast tonight." What do you think of that?
Godspeed, my friend. Be safe. We hope
I think it's I think the tsunami warning's passed now. The sentiment
doesn't mean there can't still be flooding.
Yeah.
There's going to be a flood of complaints into the county commissioner's office very shortly after this broadcast.
Really? I think you might be right. Welcome to Liberty Without Compromise. We are the only live, local, politically conservative, and liberty-minded program in Kootenai County where we expose the political power players, politicians, social influencers, and sometimes stuff that happens at Kootenai County Commissioner meetings. We're your hosts, Dan and Donna Wilson. I'm here to screen your questions and comments. You can participate throughout the program right in the comment section on whichever platform you're watching. Just submit your questions or comments right there. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves too. That's always a good time. If you're watching live, make sure to click the share button on whichever platform you're watching, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, X, or Instagram, on the Idaho Sheriff pages or Liberty Without Compromise. Share that to your live stream. And then for those of you listening back on our podcast, be sure to catch us live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. A reminder, as always, opinions expressed are ours only and not necessarily that of any of our advertisers, sponsors, guests, or affiliates. The Empire strikes local, surveillance, sellouts, and the battle for Kootenai County. In tonight's broadcast, we break down the encroaching surveillance state as tech giants like Microsoft and software like Palantir deploy Gotham to map your every move, and how that connects to Kootenai County's sheriff pushing license plate readers, or those godforsaken LPRs, under the guise of safety. From the galactic grip of big tech to the hyper-local push for authoritarian control, we'll show you how privacy is being dismantled at light speed. Plus, in our Bureau of Bootlickers segment, we expose the political operatives and digital stormtroopers targeting us online. They just don't stop. This isn't sci-fi, it's happening now. Join the resistance for us tonight right here on Liberty Without Compromise. And now here's your host, Dan Wilson.
Good evening. Hopefully wherever you find yourself watching or listening to this podcast, you are outside of the tsunami zone. Sounds like it wasn't really as big of a deal as what they had anticipated, but had nobody made a big deal out of it, everybody would be bitching.
It could go either way.
So, divine intervention.
All those videos of people on some of the Hawaiian Islands, and they're like, as long as you're on the 9th story or higher, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Some gal that didn't want to hike up the hill 15 minutes with her kid.
Hopefully, Lori, David, and Christian wrote it out well over in Hawaii. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, we're going to talk about Liberty Without Compromise. We have many topics that tie right into that motto. And of course, it is a motto that our founders gave us, those that framed our Constitution, those that eventually adopted the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that among men are the rights to life, liberty, and property. We're all equal in value. And that's what we talk about here. We tend to not always make everyone happy. Those that think that we're supposed to only parrot the current so-called conservative right talking points. Well, many times those utterances, those ridiculous sayings by the so-called right are in error. They are wrong. They are not constitutional. They are not in line with the founders, no matter how many times they yell and scream and try to do it. No different than the radical left that does the exact same thing. Some of their tactics are different, but run everything through your BS meter. Now, we don't 100% get it right. Every once in a while, we have to go back and make a correction, and we're not above that. That's what good conservatives do. But we hope you are inspired each week to go into your local community, to stand up, be a voice. Do not, if you are a Republican, do not rest on your laurels. Continue your barbecues and your boating and your camping, your vacations. Do not just go into a treading water routine where all the others, those people that you elect every November, 2 and 4 years, that they're taking care of everything. Because we're going to listen to a politician pretty soon, right here in Kootenai County, in fact, that claims that he had so many votes for him that the people trust him, and how dare anybody question his motives or what he's doing. And I said this while I was running for sheriff last year. Don't trust any politician. You can have some faith in them, but always, 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 as your civic duty, always run past what they're saying and vet it out for yourself. Don't do what many Republicans in Kootenai County do, which is follow blindly the lead of Brent Reagan and the mostly corrupt Kootenai County Republican Central Committee, who keeps putting out turds over and over again as they are claiming that they are the only holders, the light bearers of truth. We're going to talk in a future episode about how many things that so-called conservatives that we're all told that we have to keep in office, how many things that they are currently doing that are actually against the United States Constitution and against the Bill of Rights. You're going to be surprised, but that's going to take a little more prep, and we have a lot more to talk about tonight.
One thing you said, your politicians, you should never, whoever they are, even if you were elected into office, you don't trust implicitly. And I like that saying, trust but verify. Mm-hmm. Then Linda was chiming in here in the comments when you talked about a politician that said, due to the number of votes, you should just trust. And she said, do they have as many votes as lawsuits?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that is debatable. That is debatable. We like to promote, though, liberty without compromise. And, just this very week, I got in my own hands a very special prototype that we're working on for more merch. For those of you that are asking for it, just a couple things. We're working not only on what we have on the screen, but also a cigar line. Cigar line is going to take a little while to get out for obvious reasons. But if you're interested in a Liberty Without Compromise cigar, let us know. And we're taking a tally so that we can figure out the minimum quantities that we're going to order. But they're going to be a blend that I get to blend myself. So looking forward to eventually rolling that out. But in the meantime, we have this buck knife here.
Oh, I guess I put it up there too soon.
Well, we're still talking about. So this is what we're working on right now. A quality buck knife. Buck knife is manufactured right here in Kootenai County in Post Falls, Idaho. And Chuck Buck, who has since passed, back in when I was a kid, I wrote him a letter one time, and because he put these little gospel tracts in knives when I was a teenager. And I thought that was so cool. That's when they used to be down in California. And, I actually received a handwritten letter back from Chuck Buck himself.
Oh, wow.
So we're pleased to be able to have knives of their quality manufactured right here in Kootenai County. So if you're interested in a knife, a high quality lockback knife, let us know as well. We will be rolling those out for purchase before long. So.
We want to thank our affiliate, as always, Midday Squares. It's a functional chocolate square that satisfies your sweet cravings. They got peanut butter crunch, cookie dough, brownie batter, chocolate peanut, just delicious. I put the link for 15% off in the comment section. You click on that link, you get 15% off your entire order, and it is an easy way that you can satisfy your sweet craving and help support this program.
I was surprised when you told me that your dad went and bought them.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I meant to have him give me a testimonial.
Your dad likes his routine.
My dad doesn't. Okay. he likes what he likes, and he really does not like what he does not like, and he will
Fair
let
statement.
you know.
Yeah.
He will let you know. Talking to him earlier in the week, maybe over the weekend, and he said, I really like those chocolate things that I got those chocolate things. Whatever it was you guys were talking about on your I was like, what? You did? My dad? Okay, my dad was watching the program, and he bought the things, the whatever those are, he says, the midday squares. And if they are my dad approved, they're good.
Indeed. That is saying something. You need to get a video of him telling you how much he likes them.
I will do that, yeah.
Besides being on social media, which we're going to talk about here pretty quick, who's running the social media pages for Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, we do more than just scroll online, especially during the weekends. We love to barbecue this time of year. So I don't know about you, but I love it with this weather the way it is. I love it hot. I love being able to sit outside on the longer nights when it's cooling down, smoke a good cigar, cook a couple good steaks, a little chicken, smoke a cigar, all of the above. So, but in between, we do look at social media. And for almost a year, I have been meaning to inquire more with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office exactly who's running their social media pages. And we're going to throw up a slide here pretty quick because, well, at the beginning of the campaign last year, I noticed that on Instagram, the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office was restricting comments most of the time. In fact, I don't think you can even comment anymore on the Instagram.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, and I checked again today on their official Facebook page, and they severely limit comments. So they're turned off on most posts. I believe if they post a new event, they might actually not be aware of this. If they post a new event, you can comment on that event post, but anything else, they've got it turned off.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and throw that slide up here. So we saw something interesting last year, and I finally got around to asking through a public records request exactly what gives. So if you look at this very first slide, this is taken off of Instagram. You're going to see that the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office has 1,266 followers, 737 posts, and it is under this heading of the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. It says Aerial Waterborne. Aerial Waterborne, official Instagram of the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, located in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And you'll see at the bottom of the first slide here that we have a couple recent posts all the way from this last Friday and as early as the 22nd. So those three at the bottom of this page were just posted. Now, again, you're saying, Wilson, why do you care about the three that were posted? Well, I wanted to know who is Aerial Waterborne. I've never heard of anybody in Kootenai County named Aerial Waterborne. Kind of sounds like a Disney name to me. Or as Captain Bauer says, it sounds more like Aerial as in the helicopter and Waterborne as in they're going to harass people on the waters. I don't know if Captain Bauer is right on that. He was a captain in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, so he could be right. All right, page 2. I put in this records request on the 15th. I merely asked, who is Aerial Waterborne, who is listed in the title official Instagram of Kootenai County Sheriff's Office on Instagram, see below. Who is Aerial? What is her title at KCSO? And when was she hired on to KCSO? If Aerial is a fictional name, please provide the reason this name was used and who, name, rank, title, actually manages this account. Please provide any and all written instructions, policies, or memos associated with directions on how the account is to be operated. And a couple days later, I received, still on page 2 of our slide, they said they're unable to respond for one or more of the following reasons. And for items 1, 2, and 3, they claim records not known to exist. And they, if you look at the top of this, wrote in pencil or pen, they broke up my request by number. So they're claiming that 1, who Aerial Waterborne is and what's her title, and then who manages this account. They claim that no record is known to exist. And I was a little kind of shocked, right?
Yeah.
Let's go down a little bit more to the next slide.
So again, what we're talking about was Dan's putting in a records request to find out who manages the Instagram social media account for Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. There just have been recent posts made to that account, so we know there's somebody with pulse that's behind the scenes that is managing that account and posting content to it.
Page 3 of our slides, we're going to talk about the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office policy on social media. Authorized users. 306.04, only members authorized by the sheriff or the authorized designee may utilize social media on behalf of Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff may develop specific guidelines identifying the type of content that may be posted. Any content that does not strictly conform to these guidelines should be approved by a supervisor prior to posting. Requests to post information over department social media by members who are not authorized to post must be made through the members' chain of command. Then we're going to go down to the page number 4 under 306.07, prohibited content G. And it says any content that has not been properly authorized by this policy or a supervisor. So what we could take from this policy is that only authorized users can post. And any content that has not been properly authorized by this policy and a supervisor is prohibited. Okay. Lots of mumbo jumbo. Why? Because we always, more me than you, get accused of not providing the evidence.
I was just going to say this.
Right?
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was just going to say this because in the last 2 weeks, we've invited conversation over on the Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page. We've been pushing and promoting that more. That's been very intentional. And so we'll put sound bites out there. We'll put things out there that we know are going to generate a response, create conversation. Some of the people who had been blocked probably a couple of years ago now for really being vile.
Vile as in foul language.
Vile, have made their way back over to the Liberty Without Compromise page. I have yet to block them.
Right, Keith?
I will entertain. But so back to the original point you were making, their accusations are like,
there's no
talk. Yeah. Where talk, never the proof. You never show it. Okay, Eeyore. And I'm like, sometimes you are so detailed. I'm the one having to tell you, look, we got to keep a fast-paced program. People can't read that fine print. So I'm like, this is a lot to digest. But you are that guy. Yeah. And you're not going to put something out there. One, you're not going to make accusations when there's no proof.
I did this once a couple months ago. Because I was sloppy trying to hurry and get some content prepared for a show.
That's right. Yeah.
And I had to completely, when I found out by Representative Heather Scott that I had done wrong, not only did I make it right with her, but I made it publicly known, right? So, yeah. Anyway, here is the proof. So I get this response, as you recall, that no records exist. They don't know who manages the page. They don't even know who Ariel Waterborne is. Bob, 30-year law enforcement professional, now 36.
So I'm like, that's growing by the day.
Used to be able to manage all of these departments. Big guy, never, ever, ever presented a resume. So all you gullible people that voted for him in Kootenai County, you can't even confirm that he actually did what he said. Wasn't the select.
Interrupting it. I just rewatched his campaign. He had 2 campaign videos in 2019. Mm-hmm. I have them, and I just rewatched them the other day. I was going through some archives, and those are so bad.
Well, why Bruce had to start coming in and talking for him.
Oh,
all right. So I follow up with an email, and I said, "Hey, thanks for sending. I don't believe that number 3 was accurately answered. The question was, if Ariel is a fictional name, please provide the reason this name was used and who the name, rank, title actually manages this account." The response I received, citing number 3, states record not known to exist. We're on page 5. So my question is, does this mean that Kootenai County Sheriff's Office Command does not know who is managing the account? I note that there has been 3 new posts to this account just this past week, one of which was just posted an hour ago. So when I sent this out, this rebuttal saying, what do you mean? I noted that, and I gave him a picture. This has just been posted within the hour. I understand that Command has no doubt had their hands full lately with the sheriff's recent press conference, and perhaps that's why Command did not answer my questions thoroughly. And I'd appreciate if they can get me the answer I requested 10 days ago because the clock's ticking. I received on Monday a response, which is no record known to exist. It was accurate.
Okay.
So what they're telling us is they're obstructing, folks. And we need to ask these questions. These small little things matter. Why are they obstructing? Who is running the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office social media?
That is what I was going to ask.
That is the ultimate
because you're going
reason.
to have people online right now that say, "Why? Who cares who runs their social media or their Instagram account? Why do you care, Dan?"
I think it's because it's important that we know who the operators are. If it's somebody in the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, they need to be transparent because there are reasons that things are posted and things that are not. But more importantly, if the rumors are true, again, rumors, it's rumored that there is somebody outside, a female outside of the agency that has been doing this for the sheriff, unconfirmed yet. But let me tell you, Bob Norris and Brent Nelson and Franson and Ellis and Howard, you guys aren't helping anything when you want to talk about transparency. Show us who is managing your social media page.
So if-
when you can't be transparent with the smallest little things, you're either hiding something bigger or you're incompetent, which is my gripe for several years now, the incompetency level at the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office with many of the command.
If they're outsourcing that, is that their workaround? They don't have to answer. They don't have to answer the.
Well, they're in violation of policy
inquiry.
because everything has to be done by an approved supervisor. So we'll let you guys be the judges on that. But if you're interested, you might want to drop the sheriff a line, or you can drop comments in our comment sections.
Contact the sheriff's office and ask who Ariel Waterborne is.
Yeah,
Linda
Ariel
Cook,
Waterborne.
Linda Cook says it sounds like some kind of E. coli or something.
Right,
which I get up
right. I concur on that.
For those of you just joining us since the top of the hour, I want to remind you that you can participate right there in your comment section. So ask questions that are appropriate to the conversation as we continue. Then also feel free to talk amongst yourselves on any topic that comes up throughout the program. And then also share this broadcast on whichever page or profile or account that you're watching from. We got all kinds now. That list is growing.
Indeed. Now, last week we rolled out for the very first time a new segment that will be a regular segment. I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh, and Rush always entertained. He was not only informative and educational, but he also entertained. That's why so many of us love Rush. And as you know, he had many of his own special segments. And of course, it's a good idea. So we now have our own segment. Am I introducing this or are you
Well,
introducing
I got
it?
a little something just right before that because I was going to do this earlier and then.
And we're allowed to be here and we can dress.
Hold on, because that gets me.
Well,
every
you
time.
work
Just
hard.
like your little podcast. We don't care what you think, and we're allowed to be here and we can dress however we want, despite your little podcast.
Are you introducing this?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you write an intro for it?
I don't have an intro. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bureau of Bootlickers. The Bureau of Bootlickers. What are we doing?
Well, we're going to go to my slide.
We're defending power. Oh, the bootlickers, they defend power. They dodge the truth. Meet Kootenai County's keyboard cronies.
You're pretty convincing there. I should almost make you do that again.
I didn't mean to cut the music. It's not going.
Well, you have so many other things to do here, so.
I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this.
I think any county in America could have.
Go ahead.
Last week, we talked about the ramen queen herself, April Lee, who works for Summit Food Service. And those of you who have watched know by now that April decided to put a target on her back, so to speak, with us when she came out last year. Didn't know who it was. Figured she was like so many others. Extremely disparaging and continuing to perpetrate a lie, which is that I was never law enforcement. I was never certified, never sworn.
First of all, I don't care who, April Lee, I don't care. Go do what you do. Get in your red, white, and blue bikini. Go out on the lake. Do what you want to do. We don't care what you do.
Nope.
But then you came and got up in our stuff and started telling lies.
Yeah.
So then it's only at that point, we don't know you, but it's at that point when you tell a lie. And if you do it once and you kind of like dissolve into the,
Who cares?
okay.
Yeah.
But you were relentless. And it was the lie. I mean, it had a lot of bearing to it.
And it just seemed out of character for what most people that just don't like you say.
Yeah, most people who have a job, get up during the day, care about your family, go into your grandkids' sports matches, that sort of thing. Like you have other stuff to do. Going on to some other political candidate or group, Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page, and just like I'm going to get up in the morning with my cup of coffee, and this is like my thing that I'm tasked to do. Something's wrong. Like it becomes a mental problem, an emotional problem, an emotional crutch. It becomes its problem at that point. So what was April Lee lying about? You started.
No, I think we've already talked about it, and we've posted some of the vile things that she said. So somebody, as we started to look into her a little more, a viewer, a follower, sent us a message and said, "Hey, I think April works in food service at the jail." And then all of a sudden, I'm like, interesting. So we put in a couple records requests, and we were able to determine. We're going to go to slide number 6.
Okay,
you guys have already seen this
I'm going to go to
before.
slide 6, but Goose Man wants you to know that he's here.
Goose Man,
because he's probably got an early day tomorrow. He's got to get to bed here.
All right, Goose
So
Man.
I wanted to
catch
interrupt
us on our replay right after this.
All right.
You can watch it tomorrow.
Okay.
Slide 6. So once again, we looked in and found that April Lee, she on her LinkedIn page says that she is the business development director at Summit Food Service. She also, for a while, had some sort of law enforcement leadership training. Looks like it's defunct.
Yeah.
So somebody that has been around law enforcement, and so why would she lie about reserve officers? That's she's in law enforcement. There's no excuse. So we dig a little deeper.
That's where we're like, we should look into this.
Look at page 7. We've shown you this before. We confirmed that she is the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office point of contact for Summit Food Service. So she works for Summit Food Service that provides all of the meals for the jail and the commissary.
So now we're like, okay,
So
the fact she's a little
working,
loud.
She's working for a company that
Making
has
sense.
a contract. We talked last week.
Okay.
We received emails back and forth between her and Captain Heil that Summit Food Service sells over $100,000 worth of top ramen every year.
Top ramen.
And they were going to take it away, and then they were going to reduce. Kootenai County Sheriff's Office was going to take it off the menu. It was going to then cost the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office part of their, I believe it's 30% commission off of every item that they sell to inmates or deputies.
But the commission was bumped up because of all those ramen noodles.
$100,000 worth of noodles.
If you're going to take those ramen noodles off the menu, like April Lee's driving a hard, she was like working the deal.
So we dug a little
Am I
deep.
going to get in trouble?
Well, we dug a little deeper. We went to the contract that Summit has between the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. We're on page 8 right now of our slide. I want to point out under the contract for the employees of Summit, it says company shall hire employees necessary for its performance of this agreement. Persons employed by the company will be the employees of the company and not the client. Company's employees and agents shall comply with applicable rules and regulations concerning conduct on the client's premises, which the client imposes upon its employees and agents, provide such rules and or regulations are not in violation of any federal, state, or local. below that is the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office Code of Ethics. So this is for, they're saying that they're complying with applicable policies that apply to deputies. So all their employees have to, that includes you, April. April, you probably forgot that when you were running your mouth and lying online.
Code of ethics?
Yeah, to promote somebody that is currently overseeing your contract with your company. I want to point out that you're supposed to keep your private life unsullied, as an example to all, and will behave in a manner that does not bring discredit to you, me, or my agency. I would say lying about law enforcement officers and their background is probably not in alignment with the policies of the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, April Lee, nor your own contract. But I digress.
Patriot Hangout over on Instagram wanted to say that Top Ramen is poison.
I agree.
Okay, continue.
Shame on Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and Summit for selling that junk to inmates. Must mean the food that they're providing inside is so horrible that it drives up the need for the inmate to purchase stuff out of the commissary.
$100,000 of Top Ramen.
All right, so I did another records request again, and I asked this time for provide the names of any Summit Food Service employees, because I just had another hunch.
Like there's got to
be something additional.
April Lee is like going so hard after this. Is there even more? Okay, we found this angle. This is a big deal. So
she's protecting a contract.
Yeah.
That they have with the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah. So she doesn't want to change in power.
And we're going to look a little deeper. So I asked for a list from Kootenai County Sheriff's Office that of any Summit Food Service employees or vendors that were subject to any Kootenai County Sheriff's Office required background application or investigations for security clearances to work in or around the jail, the kitchen, the commissary, or other KCSO buildings, including any Summit employees that received KCSO issued access cards or ID for the purposes of entering into secured areas. Well, what do you think that we found when we saw the list of those that received clearance?
Well, first of all, for those who need an education in writing records requests, Dan could give you could give an elite class on this, because you wonder why the requests are so complicated. It's because that's what you have to do if you plan on getting any kind of an answer. We know for certain that
Kootenai County Sheriff's Office will play games. They can understand what the intent is, what the spirit of the question is, but if you don't ask the technical term or in just the right manner, then they'll deny you.
Okay, so simplify your question. What you were asking, just briefly, you wanted to know
who from Summit Food Services between, it was a 2-year period, worked at the Kootenai County Jail, in the commissary or the kitchen, in food prep.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to know.
That's what you wanted to know.
I had a hunch.
I know.
Because this April again, right? So it's protecting the contract.
April's being nasty.
Yeah. And then vicious. We get the response back from Kootenai County, because the very first one, they denied me.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell you that. So
you know how
I didn't word it quite right, and they rejected it. They rejected the spirit. And that, by the way, is not the wonderful people in records. That's your command staff. That's Brent Nelson that oversees those responses. Okay, so what do you know? Page 10, the list that was provided, you'll see a name at the top with the last name Wilson.
It's a common name.
And the first name,
sort of common,
first initial,
happens
to be the same initial and last name as somebody that I used to be married to.
Oh.
Somebody who really doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Lost children in a custody battle to me in the state of Washington. You know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So April Lee, I don't know. Maybe she wanted to keep her mouth shut, but now we're on to this and we're going to be doing more inquiries. In fact, I think it's probably time to step it up.
Yeah.
A little bit of a notch, because if you guys see the post that April has made, we of course already have them archived. They're extremely vile. She's a very nasty individual. So because now X-ray vision is on Summit Food Service. Well, once you know, one of our contacts forwarded on to us the following advertisement. This is page 11 of our slide. It's an advertisement. Summit Food is hosting an appreciation barbecue for the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office employees on Wednesday, August 13. And there are going to be various times in the jail staff jail parking lot, North staff break room, dispatch staff break room, catering by Big Daddy's Barbecue. Sounds expensive. There's what, 300 people that work for Kootenai County Sheriff's Office?
That's, yeah.
Okay. So, of course, very first question that I have is, as a commercial general contractor, I've carried contracts with the federal government, the state governments, and local municipalities. And every time I sign a contract, I have an ethics statement that says I can't take out any of my counterparts to coffee. I can't buy them a cup of coffee. Can't take them out to lunch. Because there has to be this line between those that provide services for money to the government and making certain that there's no special kickbacks that are given. So my question is, Summit Foods at the top of this says that they are hosting this appreciation barbecue for the employees. We assume it's 300. I think we might be looking at a violation of Idaho Code. We'll go to page 12 under Idaho Code 18, Chapter 13, 56. It states gifts to public servants by persons subject to their jurisdiction, regulatory and law enforcement officials. No public servant in any department or agency exercising regulatory functions or conducting inspections or of prisoners shall solicit, accept, or agree to accept any pecuniary, I can't even say that, pecuniary benefit, I don't have my glasses on, from a person known to be subject to such regulation, inspection, investigation, or custody, or against whom such litigation is known to be pending or contempted. Number 2 says officials concerned with government contracts and pecuniary transactions. No public servants having any discretionary function to perform in connection with contracts, purchases, payments, claims, or any other transaction of the government shall solicit, accept, or agree to accept any pecuniary benefit from any persons known to be interested in or likely to become interested in such contracts, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. You are so thorough. Where's your facts?
There is a $50 maximum that an organization can receive.
Okay.
So let's go to slide 13. Again, this is courtesy of April Lee. This is the reason this segment exists, because instead of just keeping her mouth shut, she went on a crusade to continually lie about my flawless 12 years of service as a reserve police officer. Coming from their contract, we're going to look at what their rates of meals are. So if we just assume, just for comparison, that this is what it costs to provide a meal from Summit Services per inmate, population per the quantifier. We know that there's more than 475 inmates in the Kootenai County Jail, and when you get to that scale, the rate is $1.46 per meal. So, very bottom of this page, we took $1.46 times 300, and it's 300 give or take, equals $439.50. More than the $50 that you're not supposed to go over, April. Maybe Summit doesn't understand because they're from Arizona. Maybe they don't understand Idaho law. But I want to also point out that we have emails from April Lee to Captain Heil at the beginning of this year, 2025, when there was a event down near Boise, and Summit hosted for all the sheriffs. These are all elected officials, a hosted cigar and whiskey event. So I want to know if anybody in this state is watching out what these freaking politicians are doing. Are they above the law? I've got the receipts. It shows, and Bob admits that he goes to this. We have it in emails. Bob and many other sheriffs across this state What are we doing by allowing our elected officials to take gratuities from those that they're in contract with? And is there a conflict of interest? Now, I know somebody that was just down in Coeur d'Alene this very week, had an open container, was at the Coeur d'Alene dock bar, walked around and inadvertently went onto the lawn, and a Coeur d'Alene police officer came up and wrote them, I saw it, a misdemeanor for having an open White Claw on the grass. That's right. Criminal citation for having an open container of White Claw right next to the freaking bar at Coeur d'Alene Resort. They're on by the docks at Coeur d'Alene Park. If law enforcement will do that to somebody that was not purposely attempting to break a law, this is why people hate law enforcement, is when they do this shit. Then what are we doing, Raul Labrador, to the politicians that are breaking these rules? Now, I'll say in conclusion, it came to my inbox today. Sounds like after I made this inquiry to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, and I asked them what authority under state law allows them to accept the free barbecue from Summit. And in their response is no records known to exist, because they really don't understand the law. Those that enforce the law don't even understand the effing law. That's your super incompetent Kootenai County Sheriff's Office command staff for you. Well, the rumor is now that the barbecue is no longer going to be hosted by Summit, but the Deputy Sheriff's Association, you know, the one that has the political action committee that Bob allowed use.
Easy little workaround.
So the rumor is, and we'll find out, the rumor is now the Deputy Sheriff's Association is going to host the barbecue. And I'm certain that you're going to see a donation from Summit into the Deputy Sheriff's Association's 501c4. So anyway, yeah, folks, we do keep it real here. None of this was even on our radar, but it just took April. April, I am so thankful to you for the way that you went around continuing to spread a lie. I'm glad that you decided to stand out among your peers and put a target on your back for us to go, something don't look right. Now, if you continue to do the same thing to us or misbehave in Kootenai County, you too may find yourself a special guest on the Bureau of Bootlickers.
Oh, we've got
Kootenai County.
Brenda Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Keith Bowe. Is it Bowe or Bowie?
Blowhog? I don't know.
What are some of those other guys? We don't know.
No clue.
I think what Dan's describing is it's easy to say, you know what? Hey, these are our first responders. What is the big deal if somebody wants to come in, show them an appreciation, give them a barbecue, give them a free lunch, bring them donuts, all of that. What we're exposing here today is that April Lee has that contract through Summit Food Services. I think it's Summit Food Service with Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. There is a conflict of interest, and then it starts to look like, well, wait,
she's working on behalf of the sheriff to not get me elected.
Well, then
you could argue
campaigning against you. Okay.
Evie, kosher and halal foods provided. Yes, they do provide special religious foods there. That's pretty common, and that would most likely be in line with the Constitution as ruled on by Supreme Court in previous rulings. So there you go. Now, speaking of more serious topics, those of you who watch the show regularly or watch me on the campaign trail know that I am passionate about rooting out the evilness and calling out the evilness of human trafficking, whether it is women and children for sex or whether it is human slavery. Anytime that we trade in the commodity of a human being, you're going to find me against that when it is against that person's will. It's just something that we cannot tolerate. And I have said over and over again, I said this on the campaign trail. I say it now to you again. There is no way that human trafficking is not taking place right here in Kootenai County. We're in a county of 180,000 people next to a county, Spokane County, of over 550,000 people. We have 3 major casinos. We have I-90, Highway 95, Highway 395, Highway 2, all of these things running in our areas. And you're going to tell me that human trafficking, which is known to occur in Spokane County, magically stops at the Kootenai County border? Well, we know that that is absolutely false. And today, July 30th, it is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And one of my most favorite people in the world is Nate Lewis, who runs The Innocent. We've had Nate on our broadcast before. I post a lot of his content from The Innocent. We're going to watch a couple videos right now that he placed today, I think in recognizing this day and the evilness that prevails. It's important for us to pause and consider what we're doing on our end when you have active law enforcement in certain areas of this county that claims it does not exist. They are not going after it to root it out. Let's see what Nate Lewis has to say and his special guest. I'm going to encourage you to go to their YouTube page and watch the full-length video of this. You will not want to miss it.
Even more of that pressure of like, hey, if you know anybody, you need to hook us up. Whether that be like, you know, seeing if you can get them to come over, if you can just give them one of our numbers, right? To where, you know, if you could go and tell a girl like, hey, here's my friend's number. I think he's a really great guy. Like, if you should get to know him. And then within that, they can boyfriend them into it and start messaging back and forth with them. And, you know, oh, like, hey, like, why don't we meet up sometime? You know, maybe they lie about their age, or maybe they don't lie about their age, but they're super kind, or they want to take you on a date, or they want to bring you flowers, or they say nice things, or any number of things that they could say to basically gain these young gals' trust.
Where do we start? Well, that event is where The Innocent started, to be honest with you. I don't know if you remember when we were sitting there on the panel after everything, and Brian Lewis, who works for The Innocent now, which can't wait to get into that story, was sitting next to me, and it was somebody in the crowd that said, what can we do right here in this town? And I had never thought about this answer, but the answer was, we're going to throw a fundraiser and you, the people, are going to fund it. And it was like, that's it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start an organization where the people and the communities can come together to bring these trainings and this investigative tools to their communities to protect the children from predators that exist in every single community. And that's what I love about this, is where that was really conceived, this whole nonprofit, and now here we are. You were sitting on the other side of Brian, and then I ended up talking to your dad. I'm so grateful that the time has come where we've reunited for such an incredible, powerful purpose. So thank you. Where do we start?
Is human trafficking occurring in Kootenai County? No.
Very few things more heinous that I can think of than the trafficking of human lives. And while I have always stated that human trafficking most certainly is taking place right here in Kootenai County, it has been denied on the record, on numerous video clips and in public, by the current sheriff, who says that it's not an issue here in Kootenai County.
Do we have an increase, or have you seen an increase in human trafficking in Kootenai County? And if so, how are you?
You know, we have not seen any early warning indicators of that here at all. We just have not. It's on our radar. We believe that it's very, very important.
Is there a problem with sex trafficking here in Kootenai County?
Well, you tell me. You know, you can arrest somebody for sex trafficking. Have you seen it?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
It's your job, not his.
So that, of course, is current Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Bob Norris, who originated from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. where they definitely have human trafficking taking place. And we have to keep asking the question. You've heard just a small fraction of the total clips that are out there. Why is Bob Norris continually downplaying the human trafficking exists? We know that it's already been contradicted on numerous occasions, most recently the investigation into the 5 Asian massage parlors in Coeur d'Alene. But Donna this week authored an article on the Liberty Without Compromise website. And she breaks down, because you sycophants, you jackasses that are continuing to prop up Bob Norris, and you know who you are. You're in our comments. You're liars. Let me repeat this again. You are liars. Anybody with a brain that has heard that man state what he has said over and over again knows that when he came in at the last moment and started changing the narrative, changing it to be one of, well, we're not talking about human trafficking. We're talking about kids that are prey online. And Donna, you wrote this article. What did you talk about in it?
Well, what we know and what we saw in those video clips is that the sheriff gets defensive. And then I started noticing this trend. Initially, when we first heard him in a town hall, and this was back over 2 years
2023.
ago. 23. He more answered the question, and then he kind of trailed off, like, might we have some massage parlors here? Yes. I have that longer clip actually available on our YouTube channel, so you can see we're not taking it out of context. But he kind of moved then through the course of the campaign in 2024 when he was getting heat from our campaign, from you, that what it seemed like is he had political advisors telling him, you need to be more adept at it rather than just give a closed answer to that question, because it's really just, it's not believable. You need to shift the argument. So I started to notice that he was doing that, and it was hard to put into words. I was like, well, he's deflecting. He's deflecting.
Remember, his Homeland Security advisor, former Homeland Security, she's with him at many events. She specialized in human trafficking. I think that when we went over our podcast, Power Player Pastors, and it was leaked to us the audio from meetings where this individual, this former Homeland Security agent, was trying to downplay human trafficking in Kootenai County as well, or what does that mean? And
yes.
So I would not be a bit surprised if this individual, and Neil Uhrig, who now works for Secret Service, but was the person that was responsible, I think originally at the Post Falls Police Department for internet crimes against children, he got pretty well. We're gonna play that video here before long in a future episode, because we have some interesting observations that we're going to bring on.
I do want to say what I noticed that Bob Norris was deflecting. I wanted to educate myself. I'm like, this is some kind of political tactic. We've been hearing it from that camp. We know who some of the people are who are advising him politically, and we were hearing that same messaging from those other people, and then beginning to hear it from him on platforms or in front of people. So what that is he's using a strategic deflection and rhetorical redirection by refusing to acknowledge the existence of human trafficking. Then he pivots to an adjacent but separate issue, in this case, online predators, because that's what he started doing. And nobody can deny that that's okay. It's a thing.
Sure.
And that allows Norris to appear concerned, while actually what he's doing is evading accountability, because he said over and over again, there are no indicators of human trafficking in Kootenai County. The rest of that article, I put the link in the comments section. So it's a pretty quick read, a 2-minute read.
We know,
and those video clips are in there.
We knew that he denied ICAC, Internet Crimes, Idaho Internet Crimes Against Children spots that the Attorney General, so the state of Idaho, was going to fund. We know that for 4 years, he refused to supply a Kootenai County deputy for that program, and it's basically a funded position, so it doesn't come out of the sheriff's budget. What is he doing now? Now he's going to the county commissioners and requesting another detective spot to fund another detective for internet crimes against children. But yeah, he's changed this narrative quite a few times, and we need to ask the question why. I've got a real problem. There's a local, pretty popular podcast. It's not live. Realtor, former cop. I was a guest early on in the campaign. He has other former cops from California. Let's call it what it is. Most of the guys that are jackasses are originally with this elitist attitude are from California. And we got a spot that we played a couple months ago where he was throwing some barbs at me, and it's the same time where Bob Norris, who was recently reelected, says that famous line that we just showed on his own. He wasn't asked by this individual. Bob Norris just starts out, is human trafficking occurring in Kootenai County? No. And then he goes on to talk about this internet crimes BS stuff.
That is a straw man argument.
Jackass, and I'm calling you, you know who you are. You're a jackass. Both you and your partner are jackasses. Because you sat there nodding your head as being career law enforcement yourself. You know better. And you sat there without challenging him as he went on his bullshit tirade about what human trafficking really is versus what you think it is. And then you had another guest on just a short time later from a local human trafficking rescue organization. And you're flipping completely the opposite argument of what you were saying earlier when you're sitting there just,
he said,
gobstruck about Bob being in your studio.
Yeah, same guy said, we know we're talking about human trafficking. We got the guest in the studio today because we know human trafficking exists everywhere.
Shame on you.
Same guy.
Shame on every one of you cowards out there.
Well, because nobody wants to stand up to the sitting sheriff. They don't want to do it.
We're going to find out that a county commissioner apparently can't stand up to him either.
Okay.
So anyway, where can they find the innocent? That page. We got that slide up.
I will put that up for you.
Go watch this full interview with Bree, a young lady in the States that was trafficked from the age of 8 years old until she was 18. An amazing story right here, close by, not in Idaho, but very, very close by. You're going to want to listen to that broadcast. And we're going to get Nate here. He's out of on assignment right now. And when he gets back, I think we're going to get a debrief from him.
And for those listening back on our podcast, you're going to want to follow The Innocent on their YouTube channel. And that is theinnocent.children on YouTube. So you can subscribe to their YouTube channel there.
And this is their logo right here on this ball cap. For those of you who are new, you're going to find out that Liberty Without Compromise is uncompromising when it comes to the surveillance state, Big Brother. We want our dangerous liberty, not a certain security. And many of you have decided that now that Trump's in office, that you no longer have to worry about what's going on because everything's here and the Republicans and Trump is going to save the day. These are people that don't necessarily align with the same values that you and I do. They're more of big government solution people. We're going to play a set of videos coming up. We're going to break them up a little bit, but we're going to talk about this evilness, about the local empire that's striking back right here in Kootenai County and how it ties in with a global push to put every man, woman, and child under continual surveillance, all for the greater good, or is it? So we're going to go ahead and watch these videos, and I'll stop them when I'm ready to.
To that CIA, when it started, the month after it got started, kind of weird. Some of the people involved, how now it's a $300 billion company. Just a couple of years ago, it was a $15 billion company. Stocks just skyrocketed. I think I even recommended it a few years ago in one of the videos that I did. Trump partnering up, a lot of people with the California issue coming out saying, we should use Palantir. Why? Well, we have this technology called Gotham and Foundry. One of them knows how to judge people's behavior, similar to Minority Report, which is kind of like a cool idea. And then the timing of it when it came out is right after what some of the people were trying to do with the government, DARPA, in 2003, that they closed and they said, no, we're not doing this program, which I'll talk about later. A month later, Palantir started with Alex Karp and Peter Thiel, but the history of it's weird. The most basic thing to be thinking about, the name Palantir, where does even Palantir come from? Do you ever watch Lord of the Rings? In Lord of the Rings, there's this thing called Palantir, which obviously a guy like me, who for sure is a nerd, I follow all this stuff very, very closely. The meaning of Palantir is seeing stones. It's this stone that tells you what everybody in the world is doing today. And they named the company Palantir. So they're not even beating around the bush. We're gonna build Palantir to see what you're doing today. That's kind of like somebody starts a, old folks home called Hannibal Lecter. And you're like, listen, send your father, send your mom, your parents are gonna be totally taken care of. It's why you guys call it Hannibal Lecter? Who cares? It's just a name. Send them here. They're gonna live a long life. They're gonna be great. They're gonna be okay. Send them to our place, Hannibal Lecter. Little weird. A lot of questions that people have. We're gonna dig a little bit deeper into seeing what the hell is going on with that. So if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
Civil liberties advocates are sounding the alarm on President Trump's reported partnership with a data analytics firm called Palantir.
The most recent outrage appears to have stemmed from a New York Times article titled Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans.
The Times reports that since Trump took office, Palantir has scored more than $113 million in federal dollars, not including a recent $795 million unspent DoD contract. Per the Times, Palantir has also contracts with agencies like DHS and the Pentagon and is in talks with the IRS and Social Security Administration about buying their technology.
Government officials told the Times that Palantir product called Foundry would make it easier for the Trump administration to merge data from all these different agencies. A former Palantir strategist, Brianna Martin, wrote on LinkedIn that she left over the company's expanding its work with ICE. She continued, quote, "For most of my time here, I found that the way Palantir grappled with the weight of our capabilities to be refreshing, transparent, and conscionable. But for me, this is a red line I won't redraw."
Many on the right are also concerned by past comments made by the CEO, Alex Karp, and the fact that Dr. Deborah Birx is on the board of the company. You remember her as one of the COVID advisors. Specifically, Karp told CNBC in 2024 one of his softwares helped stop the rise of the far right in Europe. As far as Dr. Birx goes, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie wrote on X, Dr. Birx is the worst type of person that gets into government, a complete hypocrite, holier than thou, telling lies, cloaked in faux science with the imprimatur of government legitimacy and never held accountable, so she will rinse and repeat.
Palantir responded to the Times report on X, writing, Palantir never collects data to unlawfully surveil Americans, and our Foundry platform employs granular security protections. If the facts were on its side, the New York Times would not have needed to twist the truth.
Yeah, sure, Jan.
Look, we might be on the same page here because I think, this effort was pushed largely by Doge, and Elon Musk was on board with this. I know that he wanted access to people's bank account numbers, student loan information, medical claims, disability status, to know whether they're immigrant or not, political affiliations. And this is all going to be aggregated through a system that Palantir put in place. And I think that leads to massive surveillance, massive big brother. I think that, it leaves Americans extremely vulnerable. And Palantir is the backbone of all this data integration is coming from a suggested outsider in this new Doge era. We don't even know what the plans are for Doge. So there's questions really about what is happening with the information, and we should just trust what government says. I mean, come on, it's not about Trump or anybody specific. It's about the American people literally since Vietnam, I believe, have started to question and not trust exactly what the government says for face value. And that's okay. And so there should be real questions about why one agency needs to understand all this data without using it to retaliate in any way against Americans.
I agree with you. Domestic data collection, domestic surveillance are very troubling trends, even in the best case scenarios, even when the strongest arguments are marshaled for it. I think we should be suspicious. These are people associated with this who the right would flag as globalist adjacent or World Economic Forum or world government supportive, people like Alex Karp, the CEO, Deborah Birx, people who tinker, who don't have respect for conservatism, for the right, for principles of limited government, for principles of localism. They think that crises are opportunities for greater centralized control. These are worrying philosophical undercurrents to accompany this technology that, yes, makes me very concerned. Do you know where the name comes from, Palantir?
No, tell me.
Oh,
I should know that?
No,
Okay.
no. I don't know that you would necessarily know it.
This is Alex Karp at the World Economic Forum in 2023 talking about the primary goal of Palantir.
Go for it.
Then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free, and I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
To set a global standard for behavior, that means they want to control everything. And why is it that the guys that want to control everything, the majority of them look like that guy?
Sycophants for okay. So those videos that I kind of patched together hopefully give those of you who have never even heard of this before a quick dive into it, crash course, if you will. So you have this tech AI company, Palantir, named after a Lord of the Ring, all-seeing crystal ball, that formed allegedly right after 2003 when DARPA was attempting to get something similar off the ground and was denied by Congress, I'm guessing. Don't know the exact details. But then Palantir basically develops, and for many years, they're just doing small government contracts. Peter Thiel, Silicon Valley, he's the gay conservative, not my words, that's his, that funded a bunch of Trump's campaign. Supposedly he's behind J.D. Vance. Again, I don't know the truth to any of those things, but Trump had a meeting, a press conference here several months ago where he talked about funding billions of dollars in this race to become AI dominant. And they're using this AI technology similar to the Minority Report with Tom Cruise. You remember that, right? Predictable criminology or criminal behavior, rather, for future potential thought crimes that develop into physical crimes. What this is all heading towards is a conglomeration. So from my understanding, from what research I've done, is Palantir, it's this software group, if you will, and it has multiple different software packages. One of them is Foundry, and that's where you get a conglomeration of all sorts of data. Where do you shop? Where do you go to the doctor? Where do you fuel? All that data that's combined. And you can see that from this video that Palantir put out that they're in over 40 sectors globally. And if you pause the video, you'll see that includes military and intelligence, cybersecurity, healthcare. And when we're told by the CEO that they don't store data, well, didn't Snowden tell us otherwise? Around 2013, didn't Snowden inform the Americans that we were being spied on, that all of our data was being collected? So Foundry grabs all sorts of data and information, and my understanding is Gotham, which is what Trump and the cabinet wants to implement, allows the AI predictability. And if you watch any videos on Palantir, you'll be probably not sleeping very well. They say that they will cover you from the clouds or from space to the mud.
Well, so I stepped into your office today and you had the website pulled up on your desktop. So he's got some side-by-side monitors. It's quite like foreboding looking. And the website being pulled up there too, it displayed a very large display. And I looked at it and I said, is this a joke? I know you didn't quite get where I was going with that, but it's kind of like that guy in one of the earlier clips that you had. He said, they're just saying what it is. Like, and I guess that's why I took one look at the website and I was like, is this even serious? Because they're just saying what they're doing. And the guy in the earlier clip said it would be like putting your parents in a retirement home called what's the
Hannibal
name?
Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't worry about that. It's just a name. Just put him here. They're going to live a nice long life.
Then you had the two pundits on the Hill, and he was saying, that oftentimes they use these events, these very terrible things like, I'm guessing, 9/11, among other events, to take this crisis and implement more and more lockdowns, right? Lockdowns like the Patriot Act, what it did to us, when we have to take off every piece of clothing to go through security to fly.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things. You can't take more than $9,999 out of your bank account each day, so on and so forth. So, we're looking at a lot of this stuff here, and it's not good. It's just flat out not good. We're gonna continue. So anyway, the crash course on Palantir is that they're using this data with Foundry and then Gotham, awesome name, in order to predict crimes and events and where things may or may not take place. We warned you about this also with local license plate readers. We're going to talk about this here in just a second, but we're going to go ahead and play the rest of our videos, and we're going to have a little conversation before we wrap it up for the night. To see Matari and his schemes and his Homeland Security buddy versus, those that dare to produce research, produce the documents, so to speak, to say, this is why we should be concerned. And we should be concerned. It does not matter whether or not your phone is tracking you. It doesn't matter whether your smart TV is tracking you. We don't want law enforcement with the capabilities right now to use license plate recognition technology in almost 40 patrol cars, to the tune of, in the region, by Motorola's own admission, there's 4.6 million license plates captured in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area per month. And while now it may not be that big of a deal, eventually it will be used to implement United Nations. You will own, World Economic Forum. You will own nothing and be happy. You will be confined to your 15-minute cities, and you will be subject to your social scores. Mm-hmm. So if you are speaking out against the government, you're not going to be able to purchase certain things. You're not going to be able to travel. And again, you could say that is extremely Orwellian thought, but look at what we've experienced the past 5 years in this country alone. And tell me that stuff cannot be fast-tracked to start surveilling people to use as a weapon against us. Now, there's a couple things that we're going to play. Go to the next slide. We're going to hit these really fast. This is from Motorola's own disclosure. And one of the things that they say when you're using their system, the Motorola cameras and the Vigilant software, when a vehicle is identified, Vigilant Vehicle Manager provides its location, history, and can even predict where it might be in the future if officers need to contact the operator. What do you call that? Did I just see something above that said it doesn't predict vehicle locations?
Of course, yeah. Who? Okay, make it simple. Who said it doesn't
Norris
predict vehicle?
says that it does not. Motorola's own disclosure says that it does.
There you go.
In fact, we're running out of time, so I'm not going to go through all these slides. But eventually, the entire Motorola Vigilant software is designed to be able to use cameras all over the city, not only from government, those that are on the patrol cars, flock cameras, those are these LPRs that are stationary, but they also want to use other closed circuit TV feeds. They want to be able to partner with businesses and be able to use theirs. There's a town in Indiana that has done this. Norris has no idea what he's talking about, or he's a pathological liar when he says that this is not going to usher in any kind of smart city or surveillance state technology. The company that they are contracting with has this as their model. That is their end game. And even if they're only doing a portion of it right now, they are setting this up for what eventually may become the surveillance state in Kootenai County. And we're only one incident away because... Okay. Those two videos, of course, were from earlier broadcasts we did. One was around the beginning of the year, right after Christmas, and another one was back in March.
Good job putting those together.
So you
that
can,
was a lot of work.
to. I've been talking about this. This was also another concern. For a little history, I went before the Board of County Commissioners through a letter that I had read into the record, challenging this LPR system that Bob Norris wanted to implement. He had already been using it in demo mode without any policies. There was no policies there. There was nothing protecting our data. Eventually, he went before the board, and it was a majority for him when old, what was his name? Can't even think of his name now. The county commissioner that's no longer there. Just left my mind. That's how fast you.
I know
Bill
exactly
Brooks.
what
Bill
like,
Brooks voted for it, and Bruce Matari. Then, of course, Leslie Duncan also voted for it. Actually, it's a little confusing. They voted to allow it to go forward, and then after the turn of the year, Leslie Duncan, who was against it, once Mark Eberline was there, voted. Leslie Duncan voted with Bruce Matari to go ahead and fund for 1 year, a trial period, the use of the LPR software for $24,000. I know, folks, it gets extremely confusing, but if you go back to our YouTube page, you'll find all these videos. Type in LPR, you'll see what my stance on it, which is, look, again, we do not trade our dangerous liberty. What does that mean? That means we understand there is a risk. There is a risk to life.
Yeah. How many citizens, how many even voting, many of voting citizens in Kootenai County do you think are even aware of any of this?
Well, probably not many. And those that do hear about it, they are in the camp of, well, law enforcement here is trustworthy.
Yeah.
So therefore, if they say they need it and they're not going to use it for anything bad, I'm not worried about it. It's just capturing license plates.
Because officer safety.
Officer safety. So let's fast forward. Now, last week we showed a video during the Board of County Commissioners where Sheriff Robert Norris was denied his request for an additional year of funding on these LPRs of $24,000. Of course, Bruce Matari, his special deputy and former campaign manager, voted to keep Bob Norris's program alive. Eberline said no. In fact, that's all he says. No, I'm not in favor of it. Leslie Duncan wasn't. And Bob Norris got mad, got up, stormed out of the Board of County Commissioners. And when I say stormed out, we showed you the video. He stormed out and told every one of his 12 or so deputies and staff members, get up, we're going. Come on, let's go. And then later on, a couple of the captains, because the meeting wasn't over, had to come back in with their tails between their legs, tucked between their legs. And we thought it was a great deal, right? Because everybody says, hey, this is, we finally got our day and we were able to reverse the LPRs in Kootenai County. How many of you right now are super happy that those LPRs were defunded last week for fiscal year 2026? How many of you?
Or how many even know that?
Well, if they're watching Liberty Without Compromise, they know.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of Bob's epic temper tantrums.
New listeners every week, so we're getting you up to speed.
So I got a tip when I was doing final prep for the show. So we've got a separate video from today's budget meeting. This clip is spliced out of the entire hour plus meeting. But those of you that were concerned or happy that the LPRs weren't funded, maybe not so fast. Let's see what happened today, and then I want to get your reactions.
Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, in November of last year, the voters of this county overwhelmingly elected me to be their sheriff by about a 50%, 48% margin. And there was another candidate, I don't remember his name, but he ran on the subject of ALPRs, automated license plate readers. And that candidate came in 48% behind me. This county has entrusted me that I would safeguard this information, that this information would only be used for crime fighting and officer safety. We've had some implementation issues. We've had some factory resets that we had to do. We had some connectivity issues with with the program, and we even started the program late because I did a town hall meeting and invited members of the community to come so they could hear the real facts about the ALPR, not the misinformation that was out in the community by certain individuals or groups. So I'd like this system. It absolutely, since we've been able to play with it, it monitors every keystroke that gets put into that system. Every single one. So our auditing, our verification that this system is not being abused is 100% present. And I'd like a reconsideration on that. I did talk to Commissioner Eberline. He is very supportive of officer safety. And I have assured him that, and all the voters of this county, that this will only be used for crime fighting and officer safety purposes only.
And on top of that, he's promised to make sure that we get all the information that we possibly need, and if it's a failure, it fails.
If it's a failure, it fails.
So, Brandy, I have a question for you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, it's not necessarily over. Bob Norris does what he does best, which is bullshits other leaders, other weak-minded leaders. I will emphasize that. And he lies to them. Bob Norris, you slimeball coward, yellow belly sap-sucking son of a bitch. I know more about those LPRs than you do, and it's on the record. We can go back to the record when I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. You rolled out those LPRs. You already bought tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and cameras and put them on those patrol cars before you talked to the electorate. You were using the software that runs those cameras, that collects the data, for months on demo mode, while the salesman that was overseeing the contract happens to be the volunteer helicopter pilot for the helicopter defunct program. No pay to play there. Former pilot that crashed his police helicopter in Huntington Beach, killing his co-pilot. And the feds came back on their report and said it was operator error. By the way, he was living apparently in Kootenai County while he was traveling back and forth to Huntington Beach. But Bob Norris was using the license plate readers and collecting all that data without one single policy. None. And we came back and we proved the point because through records request, we realized that the very next day after my letter was read to the Board of County Commissioners, late August 2024, Brent Nelson began authoring a policy for the use of license plate recognition cameras and the securing of the software, all of that. Bob Norris has continually lied and said it's officer safety. That's horseshit. I was a cop for 12 years. I don't care how much you want to diminish whether I fully served to the limits that a full authority officer did. I pushed a patrol car for thousands of hours over 12 years. I used the technology myself. And when you say it's an officer safety thing, you, sir, are a liar. And you have the audacity to go up before the county commissioners, and you're not naming my name, but everybody knows who that burr under your saddle is, and that's me. You know that no matter what, you can't outwit me. You cannot outsmart me because I'm on your ass following everything you're doing, and the incompetency of your entire administration and your failure as a man is on full display. So, sir, anytime you want to go mano a mano and talk about the particulars of a program without your mouthpiece, Bruce Matari, or any of your captains, just you and me on a stage with a mic, let's do it. We don't want these LPRs in our county. We do not consent to having our data stored. I don't care if it's for a day. You look at Palantir, conglomeration. Do you honestly think that Motorola is going to remain in a separate silo from Palantir? Or do you not believe that all this information is aggregated from multiple sources? And what happens then when all of your driving habits are logged? And you say something that the local sheriff doesn't like. We are close, folks, to getting back into a Gestapo type of world with this continual surveillance. And those of you that are sitting on your asses, not doing anything, not standing up like Jen Noel, attempting to stop the onslaught of the surveillance state and smart cities, you'll get everything that you're working towards, which is enslavement. And I could tell you, as a man who has loved the Constitution and the founders my entire life, and with the code that my dad instilled into me as a young man, I will never consent to being controlled by government outside the confines of the Bill of Rights. I do not trade my dangerous liberty for any kind of security. I don't care whatever the threat may be. We will face that threat like my forefathers did before me. I want protection from the government itself. In fact, Thomas Jefferson has our quote of the week. This is what he had to say. Mankind soon learned to make interested uses of every right and power which they possess, or may assume. The public money and public liberty, intended to have been deposited with three branches of magistracy, but found inadvertently to be in the hands of one only, will soon be discovered to be the sources of wealth and dominion to those who hold them. They, the assembly, should look forward to a time, and that not a distant one, when a corruption in this, as in the country from which we derive our origin, will have seized the heads of government and be spread by them through the body of the people, when they will purchase the voices of the people and make them pay the price. Human nature is the very same on every side of the Atlantic and will be alike influenced by the same causes. The time to guard against corruption and tyranny is before they shall have gotten a hold of us. It is better to keep the wolf out of the fold than to trust to drawing his teeth and talons after he shall have entered. I am passionate about liberty. Liberty for everyone. Whether you agree with my ideology, you have something totally separate. That's the beauty of this country and the best ideas. Moralism is what should be reigning and winning the argument of the day. But too many of you want to trust national leaders, or in this case, he's a nice guy, he's my friend, most accessible sheriff of all times. Trust me, while he has 2 lawsuits right now for violating citizens' rights.
And what happens when he's no longer in office?
They never think about that.
And he's making promises that, I mean, possibly just a guess throwing it out there, if come January he's not in office anymore or he retires, then what? Those are promises he can't keep.
Once the wolf's in, it's hard to get the wolf out. Now, please be praying for my good friend, my brother, Jim Harbin. Jim, the odds you say are stacked against you, but you know that we have a mighty God that can perform miracles. We're praying for your complete healing. Would you pray with me for Jim? And pray for Todd, who is still having a hard time recovering. My friend Ron, all of our friends throughout this country. Pray for those being trafficked around this globe. This evilness must stop. We are going to be judged like abortion. We're going to be judged for turning a blind eye to this great injustice. Remember to be strong. Stay courageous. May God bless you. And Donna, wrap us out.
Thank you for joining us tonight on the Liberty Without Compromise live stream broadcast. You can visit our website at libertywithoutcompromise.com. And then also for our podcast, listen and subscribe wherever you get your shows. With that, I think we'll see you next week.
Think, yeah, and we're allowed to be here and we can dress all our your little podcast. We don't care what you think, yeah, and we're allowed to be here and we can dress however we want, despite your little podcast.